I hear people say, very complicated what happened in federal court today in Wilmington, Delaware, with the federal judge there. Very complicated. Everything blew up. The sweetheart deal and so forth. The judge's name is Mary Ellen Norica. And as we're reminded over and over again, she was appointed by President Trump. And as I remind you over and over again, at the district court level, that's the federal trial court level, a president makes these appointments, but has to make the appointment with the support of the senators in their state, or they can withhold their support and block a nomination forever. So it is a Trump appointee in Joe Biden's state. And so Biden, or his people, the two fake senators from Delaware, had to go along with it. But so that's neither here nor there. So what happened today? This judge, whomever she is, whatever her background, put her foot down. She did something that not a single federal judge in Washington, D.C. has done. Not one. And more on that later, too. Because those judges are in the tank for the Department of Justice. They're in the tank for the government. They're in the tank for the Bidens, effectively. Some of them are Republicans. But they come out of the Department of Justice, and these are their buddies. And they're very upset with Trump. And so they are constantly ruling against Trump and ruling against his people. But most of these cases wind up in front of, but not exclusively, Obama-appointed judges. There's a Trump-appointed judge there in D.C. who's a complete Department of Justice hack. Complete hack. Again, more later. We have discussed this phony deal at length on this show. That's why I take the time, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2-3 shows to go over these things. That's what I do, because I want to be educating people about what's taking place and what's going to take place. The Hunter Biden deal was an effort to cover up, then censor, then kill any investigation into Joe Biden. The question is, when will Merrick Garland and the other Obama-Biden Marxists who run the DOJ be directly exposed and held to account? There's been no talk today, lots of talk, lots of it good, but no talk today about senior officials at the Department of Justice, and that has to be Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, the Deputy Attorney General, the head of the Criminal Division as well, the Director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, more on him later. They all had to be in on it. They all had to be in on it because David Weiss, this guy they keep talking about, he reports to Merrick Garland. He doesn't have an independent power. Garland says, oh, yes, he does. I gave it to him. No, but you didn't appoint him as a special counsel, so you didn't give him independent power. There's nothing in writing. So the question is, when will Merrick Garland and the other Obama-Biden Marxists who run the Department of Justice be directly exposed and held to account? These mob lawyers are destroying our country. Now, this deal never made sense to anyone. You don't have to be a lawyer. It was a brazen mob deal, and our noses were rubbed in it, despite the best efforts of the corrupt Democrat Party and the corrupt Democrat Party media to run interference yet again. Now, the deal called for no jail time for tax evasion. No jail time for tax evasion or perjury on a gun application. He committed perjury when he signed that gun application. And he committed tax fraud. Now, over at CNN, the legal analysts, MSLSD, the legal analysts, New York Slimes, Washington Com. We've never seen anything like this. I mean, he even pled to a misdemeanor. You never do that in a tax case. These people are liars. They are the worst. The worst. Merrick Garland also let the statute of limitations run on tax fraud committed by Hunter Biden, covering $1.5 million in income for tax years 2014 and 2015. He paid no federal income taxes. The statute of limitations ran. It ran while they knew the time was ticking. And so he didn't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in income taxes. He got away scot-free. And he's never going to pay. Any explanation for that? Only one. The mob lawyers. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice said that the investigation was ongoing, thereby attempting to prevent any effort by Congress, we talked about this, to look into any aspect of the investigation and the deal. The judge asked, well, then what's still being investigated? This proposed plea immunizes him from everything and anything. And by the way, why does it do that? To cover up for Joe Biden. The prosecutors reluctantly admitted that FARA, you're supposed to register as a foreign agent. They use this against Republicans like Manafort. Well, why didn't they use it against Hunter? Well, we might. The judge said, you might. He just said this is an immunity deal, effectively. This is the end of it. So one side of your mouth, you're telling me, the court, that the case is over, that there's nothing else to investigate. It's all done. It's kaput. Out of the other side of your mouth, you're telling me you're still conducting an investigation. For what and to what end? She's the one who brought up FARA, by the way. The answer is the deal would immunize Hunter from any further investigations, thereby immunizing Joe Biden, because there's no separate investigation of Joe Biden. That's number one. There will be no FARA charges brought against Hunter Biden under the deal. That's number two. Number three, Merrick Garland was going to hold firm and not appoint a special counsel to investigate Joe Biden. So everything's done. It's all over. Doesn't matter, you had IRS whistleblowers subsequent to this deal. The Department of Justice didn't say, wait a minute, we got more information. No, remember, it was DOJ that shut those whistleblowers down. That's why they became whistleblowers. They interfered in the IRS investigation. All makes sense? Because that's what happened. The individuals at DOJ responsible for this, Garland and the others, must be held to account. Because I have to tell you, the level of corruption here is beyond anything we've ever seen. And I don't doubt for a second that the White House is involved. Why wouldn't they be? They have a Pravda media that will support them, that will defend them no matter what. Blame the MAGA Republicans, They have a Democrat Party that will back them no matter what. And, of course, they run the Department of Justice through their mob lawyers. They can say and do whatever they want. So why wouldn't Joe Biden behind the scenes give his opinion to Merrick Garland or more? This is what we're up against. So when you have a brave judge, doesn't mean I'll agree with everything she does, but certainly here I do. You have a brave judge who puts her foot down and says, no, I'm not signing my name to this. Because she smells a rat. She knows this is absolute corruption right to the core. Washington goes, oh my God, we've never seen anything like this. We don't know anything about this. I want to remind you, in this gun charge, where Biden says he's for gun control, Hunter was charged with possession of a firearm by a person who is a known drug user. That's a felony. He had a Colt Cobra 38 Special for 11 days in October 2018. But he did more than that. He waved it around in public. He threw it in a trash can not far from a school. He had it retrieved later. No big deal, right? Yeah, there's a big deal. It's a very big deal. They're hiring 87,000 new IRS agents to do what? To harass you and me? Hunter Biden didn't pay taxes for several years, and he got away with it because of DOJ. That's not a big deal either, right? So as a tax fraud, he gone illegally. Two things the Democrats are always beating their chests about. And yet their president's son has done both and more. And more. So the deal is dead. The judge ordered the two parties to get back together and get back to her in 60 days. And my theory is that tomorrow, or very soon, it's been expected, but sooner than later, the next shoe will drop with the mob lawyers at the Department of Justice. Will drop the charges on January 6th against Trump. And the DA in Atlanta is watching all this too. She's a political hack. And she will act soon too. To divert the public's attention, certainly the media's attention. And I know for sure that the phony special counsel's office monitors all this because they live and die by the press. They leak incessantly. And even more than that, remember they sent a letter, a notice letter, target letter, to Donald Trump's lawyers 2 Sunday nights ago about January 6th. You don't send those letters on Sunday night. So they're looking at the calendar, they're watching the media, they're giggling among themselves when their stories are regurgitated by the media, by the Maggie Habermans of the world, as they were before, during the phony Russia collusion. Phony investigations. So the judge in Wilmington has done the opposite of what the judges in Washington, D.C. do. The judges in Wilmington, the judge in Wilmington, stood up to the mob. The judges in D.C. are part of the mob.